Hello everybody, my name is Logan. I am with Nxt Era Trading. Today we're going to cover my weekly watch list, including any important economic and market data that we need to be looking at that's going to help us with trading in the week. We're also going to be looking at the technical analysis of each of the stocks on my watch list. So if you find value in this content, please do give me a like, a subscribe, and make sure to turn on the alert bell so you don't miss any updates like this. Make sure to check out Nxt Era Trading if you find value in this content. I'll go over some of the features of that at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Biggest things we're going to be watching this week are the central bank's FOMC meeting, where Jerome Powell will speak about what the decisions made within the committee on Wednesday. So investors and traders are going to be looking towards Wednesday to see if the Federal Reserve will be tapering their balance sheet or if they plan to do any rate increases in the future. This is going to be very important for investors to determine whether or not they need to be positioned in value or growth stocks, as the Federal Reserve increasing rates is directly correlated to a worse performance in growth and technology stocks. That being said, most of the stocks on the watch list this week are in the communications or technology sector, which are considered more growth. After that, on Thursday, we have the initial jobless claims of 350,000, which is 14,000 less than last week. If this number stays around that 364,000 number, or if it goes up, we could see that would be good for tech and growth, as that would reduce the chances for rates to get increased. Now, on Friday, we have the wholesale inventories, and if that number is stagnant or increases, that would show a lack of demand for goods in the economy, and that would mean that the economy is not expanding as quickly as we had thought. This, again, would be good for growth in tech, as the Federal Reserve would have a less likely chance of increasing rates in a shorter time frame. In other words, technology and growth stocks would be in a prime environment to borrow money into the foreseeable future versus the concerns of them raising rates at the end of 2022. So with that being said, let's dive into the stocks we're watching this week and get a good idea of the best trade setups for us. And without further ado, let's jump into the charts. So first stock we're going to look at is Apple. Now, Apple had an incredible run last week. Every single day was green, and we had the last day on Friday, we actually broke right through this 137.07 resistance that was formed. Looks like, if you look back, you see it rejected that area quite a few times. We just broke over it, so that is now acting as support for us. I'm expecting we're going to be looking towards the all-time highs this coming week. Going to be testing those. I'd be surprised if we rejected them too much. I definitely can see us consolidating underneath that 144.30. But I do suspect that Apple will have a continuation there with the amount of strength that it has on it right now. Moving on to Twitter. Twitter also has a great setup here. Let's go down to 130, 390 minutes. So Twitter, we're approaching that $70 strength, or the $70 resistance with strength here. So we'll be watching for that to break over. You can see that there's a lot of momentum on this thing. It's not quite overbought on the RSI, so I do expect that it will be pushing itself over that $70 resistance in the coming week, especially if there's strength in the tech sector. That being a communication stock, I should say growth. Now, Shop, we have a cup and handle formation forming with a support at the $1,429 mark support here. A secondary support at 1404 with the 55 EMA. And we have a volume shelf that it's consolidating underneath with the 1500 as resistance. The all-time high is at 1552. So we'll be watching this. Definitely a very bullish setup. Lots of support, very asymmetric entry. If this thing breaks down past that 55 EMA, definitely going to be considering cutting that position, as we could gap down all the way to around that $1,300 mark. So there is all of the technicals on shop. We're going to move on to Snap. So Snap has an inverse head and shoulders. If you look here, this inverse head and shoulders almost kind of forming somewhat of a cup and handle, with a consolidation, a really nice looking consolidation under that 69.35 with no resistance after that up to the high, all-time highs. So again, pretty similar story to other tech stocks right at the moment. We could see quite a move over that 72.95, especially given that we have good economic data and the FOMC doesn't surprise the markets. Moving on, we have first industrial. This is FedEx. FedEx beat their earnings. They have solid fundamentals. I would say they're undervalued. And it has a really nice accumulation after this. So that they beat their earnings and then they sold off. They actually gapped down on this doji. And so pretty bullish price action. We had a gap up after a couple days. And now we're consolidating under that 300 mark on FedEx. It has really nice momentum right now, and the DMI down here hasn't even broke over that green line, hasn't broke over the red, and that's going to be where the big move comes in, as long as none of these are overbought, which none of them are, and it looks really bullish to me. So definitely got this at the top of my list. Disney is the next one. We're watching for a continuation of this initial breakout on Disney. It started on Wednesday and Thursday last week. You can see it's popping out of the squeeze on the TTM squeeze here, which is a great sign, especially with this bullish, this red candle that it has the long tail on the bottom. It did close lower than it opened, which is slightly bearish, but it is still a bullish candle. Looks like the bulls did have majority of the control today on that day. And I can see us continuing this move. We have the DMI about to cross back over. You can see the last time it crossed that line here, we had a nice gap up and a nice day. So that breakout over this I believe that's a 55 EMA, is going to be very, very telling. And with the relative volume on Disney was also at 130% on Friday. So with this position, we are positioned in it already. So if we do break down a bit, we could open some put positions or a hedge under the 170 mark here. So under 170, we could buy a hedge, or we could sell our position and play the downside, or just sell our position and move on. But I do think that we're going to see a continuation of this breakout. So the next stock is Facebook. Now Facebook is bull flagging on the daily, and Facebook is on watch if the strength continues. Again, this kind of goes back to the FANG stocks, the big tech stocks. This is going to be moving quite a bit with those, and with social media companies, communication companies, I should say. And so we're really going to watch this. FANG is really hot. It's had a really big run the last few weeks, and it's probably going to have a pullback when most of the stocks are around their all-time highs, and they'll do some consolidating under those highs, and then we'll see the QQQ make a move, another continuation, due to the FANG stocks almost entirely. So it'll be really interesting to see. But with Facebook, we're going to be looking at the $358 price. This is going to be another breakout potentially. We have support at the 350-260 with point of control. Again, support at around 350. So this trade is alive above those levels for a solid push above. We always cut our losses. If this trade broke down past this 21 EMA, we would consider just closing that position and repositioning ourselves in a better. The next stock that we'll look at is Tesla. Tesla is in a range right now, and it definitely has a nice bull flag. Now, I think most likely what will happen is we will have a continuation. It'll be bullish, but it is. I'm a bit skeptical. I would say just for this one, calls over 690, the 695 strike, above 690 on Tesla would be a bullish position. Below, let's see, below 670. So below this range that we're in here. So basically, if it breaks above, we're gonna play calls. If it breaks below, we're gonna play puts. I am a bit reluctant to play puts on Tesla, just because I know the sentiment, and so I don't often do that. But I'm putting that out there just for anybody that does want to do that or that wants to hedge. Again, this isn't financial advice, so it's just up to you. I'm just giving you guys some of the data. The next stock we'll look at is UAL, I should say, and that's United Airlines. We've got a lot of oversold indicators on the momentum. UAL is at a crossroads, like I've been saying for a few weeks now. We really need to make a strong movement over these moving averages for us to gain any momentum at all. And so it's going to be really interesting to see. We do have some accumulation on the stock here. You can see higher lows, and we're coming out of a negative momentum. So there is still hope for this trade. I'm still bullish on it until we break down past that 5167, where I can see some more selling at that point, some more distribution. But until then, I am bullish on this. I'm holding my leaps on this for next January, and so that'll be interesting to see. And we'll move on to PayPal, which is the next one on my list here. So PayPal is right now bull flagging. It has a potential to push to that 295 resistance here. That would be a solid day trade. I do think it has quite a bit of potential to do that. So gonna keep this on watch. After that resistance is broken though, we do have a nice run to 309.14 with no resistance at all. So this could be a very, very, very lucrative trade. Gonna be keeping this. AMD. Now AMD has got a volume shelf that's forming on the daily. The relative volume is also high, and we've got support at $94. So we broke above this resistance with support now at 94. We're in a nice consolidation at the end of the day on Friday. I can definitely see this thing moving very nicely. Intraday momentum, it's oversold, and it's consolidating. So I do expect this to open higher, or if not even, and I expect it to make a nice movement tomorrow. Maybe not right away in the morning, but I do expect it to do well. But we'll see. So coin, these next two plays are kind of more Bitcoin related stocks. Coin, we have a nice bullish flag coming in here with a volume shelf that was formed. So we're gonna need to see quite a bit of volume, in my opinion. We need to stay above this support at 238.25, and I think that as long as Bitcoin doesn't shit the bed, that this is gonna move. It's gonna have a nice, it has a nice accumulation, it has a nice flag, and it's got solid momentum. RSI is nowhere near overbought, so it's definitely gonna be interesting to watch. I can see it maybe selling just a little bit more before it catches its ground, but that 238.25 is a strong number. And then this one is MELI. So this is a Brazilian e-commerce company. There's nice accumulation on MELI right now. Plus SoftBank just invested about $1 billion, I should say, it's $200 million into a Brazilian crypto exchange and it's called Mercado Bitcoin. So, and the MELI is Mercado. So it's got a lot of sentiment from the crypto realm as well as e-commerce. It's also a foreign stock, so it doesn't move exactly with U.S. stocks, but it does correlate with the e-commerce industry. And so we're going to be watching this nice flag, and also with what I said about that too, the MELI is also contemplating some acquisitions in Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and Mexico. So this could, this stock, I do like this stock. Drew, another professional trader in our community, this is one of his favorite stocks. So definitely one that we keep on watch frequently for nice movements. And these next two plays are plays on crude oil. So as long as crude oil performs well in the coming week, which is up in the air, anything can happen right now. It's had a hell of a run. And so, but if it does continue, we've got two plays: CPE, which is in the energy sector, as well as OXY, and we've got really nice consolidations underneath strong resistance points, and so we see a continuation in crude oil, and we're gonna see a nice continuation in those stocks, even better movement there for great option contract positions. So keep those on your watch list. With that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this week. There's a ton more that we could cover, but I like to keep things focused. I like to make sure that I'm not looking at too much, and with this gives me a good range of stocks within all the industries that I can play, so that I don't miss a trade, right? So always making sure that I have at least one within each hot sector. If you guys have any questions on anything that we've covered here, anything about the technical analysis, anything that I've said, anything about the video quality, if you want to see anything else different, if you would prefer me to use different terminology, anything like that, leave a comment below. I really would love your feedback on these videos. I want to make them as best as I can for the audience and make sure that they're very understandable and easy to follow along. So I would really appreciate that. Make sure to give me a like, a subscribe, turn on the alert bell for more watch lists like this. I'm going to be putting out more content related to option strategies as well as Thinkorswim setup. So if you like my setup, if you like anything about what you're seeing here, make sure you follow along, because there's going to be a ton more valuable content coming out. Make sure you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and then consider joining Nxt Era Trading. There's two other professionals that are just as skilled as me in different facets of the market. We have a very good balance of skills, and we do ongoing mentorship with all of our members, and we have a very low turnover rate. So we are very happy to announce or to welcome anybody who is interested into the community for $29 a week, or you can sign up for the $100 a month pass. And again, that's going to be covering all of our ongoing research, fundamentals, technicals, market research, economic research, reports, video content, private one-on-one mentorship, and we're always available for questions, so feel free to reach out to us. We also have a live trading room where we speak and we share our screens, so if any of that stuff interests you, consider joining today. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your night.